Running Lab, welcome to your Monday strength session for this week. Today we are going to be using a looped band, a foam roller, and if you have it, a stability ball. But if you don't have that, I will give you some different options as well. Today is going to focus a lot on mobility and stability to make our body more efficient for running. Our first exercise is going to be an airplane, and we're going to modify this exercise by putting a foam roller against the wall. You're going to hold the foam roller with some pressure in that direction, pressing your knee into the wall. The foam roller is right above my knee joint, and my adductor muscles are the ones that are holding it in place. From there, you want a tall spine posture. Then you're going to tilt forward at your hips with your booty out. The back leg has some options. If you aren't so great at balancing, you're going to have your tiptoe on the floor to assist you with balance. We call that a kickstand. What the focus of this exercise is mobility throughout this hip. We are working the deep hip rotators. So you're going to rotate that way, and then you're going to open up your hip. Notice that the hip is what is driving my motion, not my shoulders and not my spine. My spine is staying together as one unit. I am not twisting through my spine. Keep up with that if you got it. If you're a little confused, I'm going to show you what some of those cheats are. So some of the cheats are the hip not really moving, but the shoulders moving. The next cheat would be lumbar spine overly twisting and extending through there. So if your shirt or your shorts are crunching up in this area, you have too much motion. The other cheat would be being too upright with this, because that's not going to get the posterior muscles that we are targeting in this. Okay, I'm going to switch sides and talk some more about this exercise. So again, nice and tall, hinge at your hips, just like a golf swing for those golfers out there. We're going to wind up our hip, and then we're going to follow through and open up the hip. You might feel a lot of tension at first, but as you go through this exercise, you will feel that it is actually relieving some pressure in the hip. The deep rotators of the hip are underneath your gluteal muscles, and these are often tight in a runner because they work so hard to stabilize. Also, if you are very stressed, we might hold some tension in those muscles as well. This can lead to pelvic floor dysfunctions, this can also lead to hip impingement symptoms, and it can seem at times like you have a hamstring injury, but it might be the muscles right above the origin of the hamstring. These are the muscles that connect to our sacrum, the side of our femur, and into the tailbone area of our body. Okay, so make sure you get to the point where you feel like you have controlled that exercise. This is one of those where there's not a certain amount of sets or reps. You kind of just do it until both hips feel even, or until you feel that these muscles are starting to work efficiently. For me, I stopped that exercise when some symptoms in the front of my hip started to decrease. Next, we're going to work our hip flexors, our shin muscles, and a little bit of our calf muscles as well. You're going to take a loop band and put it around your feet, and then you're going to face a wall. Put your hands against the wall, and then you're going to go up on both toes. From there, you're going to drive one leg up into a hip flex position. You're also going to make sure that your ankle and shin are in a nice dorsiflex strong position. You don't want to have that toe hang down. Okay, so once again, we're going to be even to start, then go up on your toes. I can see here from the angle of my foot, but also my reflection against the wall, that I want to tilt out that way. So what I'm visualizing to improve that is bringing my knee up towards my shoulder or my chest region and keeping it in line with that. Things you want to look out for with this one is crossing over like that, or overly shifting your pelvis. You want to be nice and strong in the stabilizing leg as you come up into that position. That stabilizing leg, you are going up on your toe to mimic the running form in the push-off phase. So we have the push-off phase of running, and then we head into the swing phase. Continue on with those for about 2 to 3 sets of 10 on each side. A lot of our exercises today, you'll notice, are in that forward lean, tall trunk position. This is to help those of us that tend to overstride, which is very common in runners. So we're going to be working our stabilizers here so that we don't become crouched when we're running. When we get into that loading phase, a lot of runners lose that tall core posture, so they collapse through their hip. But also, this can lead to overstriding. So we're trying to prevent the body from being too upright and backwards, and then these exercises will help us go forward so that our foot lands underneath our body. So the next exercise, you're going to grab a ball. This could be a basketball, soccer ball, stability ball, or for me, this little thing that kids jump around with. Okay, so what we're going to do is hold that object against the wall. If you don't have any object, it could be a stuffed animal, whatever, something so that you have a goal of keeping it in place. If not, you can just press your knee against the wall. So with this one, we're going to go through the running motion. With some pressure, you're going to be pressing that leg into the wall. The more pressure you can get, the better. You can see that I'm even getting my arms into this because our body likes to wire those patterns in from head to toe. We got to be training our form. Okay. Okay, so of course, there are cheats with this exercise as well. So the cheat would be flexed the whole time as you're going through it and never getting that extension in your hip. Another cheat is commonly like too upright and going backwards to compensate with the hip flexors. Okay. So you really want to focus that pressure. This one is better with slow and controlled. On the stance foot, you want to make sure it's not too far out to compensate or turned out to compensate for our balance. You don't want to sideways lean to hold the ball up against the wall. Sometimes too, our stance foot can be too much in the center of our body and not underneath our hip. So ideally that stance foot is underneath your hip as you're going through these exercises. You can see that this stance leg, it's a little bit of knee flexion going into full knee extension. Oop, got my arms off there. Okay, so continue on with those if you didn't get through 2 sets of 10 already. Okay, if your glutes are not talking to you already, They will with the next couple of exercises. You're going to put your loop band across your ankles. You're going to be in a bent knee position. We're going to be working our balance here and doing some 3 directional taps. So forward, side, back. Forward, side, back. With this one, you really want to prevent the compensation of leaning, especially when you go out to the side. And you can see from the side view that I have that forward lean position in my hips again, trying to be tall through my spine. Another main goal of this is to prevent our knee wobble. So we're going to work on that stability through our arch again. Press your big toe, your pinky toe into the ground. Try to arch your foot up. You're going to feel this a lot in your quadricep muscle as well. Definitely not counting with these guys. Okay, continue on with those balance reaches, and if you can, every week, try to add in more resistance with those. For our pelvic stability, we're going to be in a side plank position. Just like our other exercises, there are modifications. You can start this exercise on your knee, or if you're able to, you can go into a full extended position. What you want with the side plank is you want your shin off of the ground just as much as your pelvis. So you're going to be in a nice straight line, elbow underneath your shoulder, head in line with the rest of your body, shoulder in line with your hip, in line with your ankles. Try the challenge today of bringing that top leg up. You can either just hold it there into that run pose position, or you can circle it through the running arc. And that one is definitely our advanced option. So I'm going to have you go do those on your own time. If you have any questions, then feel free to reach out to me. These were more for form and stability today, and a lot of core work that you should feel in your pelvic region. If I were you and I was getting into the swing of things with my exercise program, I would take last week's video or the week before's video with the weights and add that in at a later time this week. Have fun running!